Hi everyone, how are you? It's me, B from Kelly Sunflower. So I thought I'd hop onto this hashtag that was devised by the lovely Katie Flowers, and it's hashtag only 10 decks. So what 10 decks would I keep if I could only have 10 decks? This was really hard for me because I've got quite a large tarot and oracle collection, and my favourites change on a monthly basis. So what I decided to do was use 10 decks that I tend to reach for the most if I want a more precise reading. So I'm going to flip the camera around and show you those decks. Okay, so these decks are in no particular order. The first deck that I want to show you is Brian. This is more of a affirmation type oracle deck. The creator, Rihanna Falkland, says that Brian is her spirit guide. These are like oracle size cards. And Brian is a Cockney dwarf. And he's just got some really nice messages. For example, he's got know where you did ask, turn in a new corner. And I tend to use Brian as backup when I'm doing tarot readings. So if I want confirmation, or if I want to look into the cards deeper, I use Brian. Okay, this is my favourite Rider-Waite Smith deck. It's a bit bashed at the moment. It's the Albano Waite Tarot. I need to get a box for this. So what I like about this deck is the colour coordination. So the cups have got this lovely kind of blue background. The wands have got this lovely orange background. Pentacles tend to have like a lovely greeny background. See if I can find another suit. Like the swords. And the swords have got this lovely green background. So it's just like a Rider-Waite Smith deck, but with more vivid colouring, and I work better with colour. So I find that when I use this deck for readings, I tend to get sharper readings. This deck here, the Children's Tarot deck, for the young at heart. It's a major arcana only deck, and I bought this to teach my grandchildren tarot. Some of the names have been changed. So the Magician has been changed to Learning. The High Priestess is Imagination. The Empress Mother. Father, the Hierophant Teacher, and so on and so forth. So it's got more softer cards. I started using this deck with my grandkids when they were 3. So because it's more of a study deck for me, I do find that it gives actual precise readings. I tend to pair it up with a playing card deck to make it a full deck, because it's only the major arcana. So you can get an optional guidebook, which is a colouring book, with the meanings. And also it does come as well with the meanings on cards. So this deck would have to come with me if I only had 10 decks. Okay, so this is one of my newest decks to my collection. It's the Tasmania African Tarot deck. Okay, so this is like a melanated Rider-Waite Smith Cologne deck. And again, the minor arcana is colour-coded, which I do like in the deck. And, it's got very kind of like sharp, vivid imagery. And for me, it's just a deck that I connect with well. And if I want to do more fine-tune readings, this is a deck that I will tend to reach for, even though it's one of my newer decks to my collection. So the Romance Angel Oracle deck, I think this one's out of print now, but I do tend to use this deck when I'm doing love readings as clarifier cards. I'm not too keen on the actual imagery, to be quite honest, but I do like the keywords and the wording at the bottom. I do like oracle decks that have writing on there, and it does seem to be quite a predictive deck. It gives very precise messages to me. But as I said, the imagery is not really my cup of tea. So I don't tend to use this deck on its own. I just tend to use it in conjunction with a tarot love reading. Okay, so this deck is called the Bitmoji Lenormand, and it was, I think the template was devised by Jamie Sower. I can't pronounce that surname, Sayer, but Julie from the Peekable Rose YouTube channel kindly devised my Bitmojis and made with this 36 card Lenormand deck. So I think because I can see myself in the images, or my Bitmoji in the images, it just makes the cards clearer for me. I can see the picture clearer in each card. So it's just basically a basic Lenormand deck, but with my Bitmojo there. It's a gorgeous deck. And then the back of the cards are the crazy cat lady. Beautiful Lenormand deck. So the textured tarot. Love this deck. It's a collage kind of deck. I can really see into the images and the stories of this deck when I'm using this deck. A lot of people have complained about the paperwork being thick, but I don't riffle shuffle. I overhand shuffle, so for me it's perfect. I don't know, it just gives me really good, you know, look at this one, 5 of Wands, getting your hands burnt. It just gives really kind of precise, in-depth readings for me. The Everyday Enchantment Tarot by Poppy Pallen. So this deck to me is very kind of London. It reminds me of like the 1970s London that I grew up in as a child. Again, it's color coded, which is quite important to me with decks. I am more drawn to decks like that, you know. So for the Queens is got like a green background. The Wands have got this nice red background to represent fire. The Blades, which would be swords, is purple. The Wands is red, and then the Major Arcana tends to be with a black border. I mean, a lot of people have taken off their border, but I actually like the border on this deck because it kind of colour coats it for me. And it's a modern take of the Rider-Waite-Smith system, so it puts it into the modern world that we're in now. And I can kind of relate to this deck as well, so it is a deck that I wouldn't be able to part with, unfortunately. Okay, so this is the Lorna Soul Tarot deck by Liminal 11. I actually call this deck Lorna. This is the first edition. I also have the second edition as well, but I think I prefer this one. I prefer the cardstock on this one for some reason. Now this one isn't usually my colour palette. It's quite pastel in colours, but I don't know whether it's the artwork, whether it's the ambience, but I just really connect to it, and it again gives me precise readings. What I also like about this deck is the backs. So if the navy blue end is showing, that means that the card's reversed, and if the gold side is showing, that means that the cards are upright. And because I like to put my deck upright anyway before I do a reading, it just makes it easier for me. I think the second version has got a bit more stiffer cardstock, but I do love this deck. And my final deck is a Lenormand deck. It's called the Instant Lenormand. I think this one's a 54 card deck. So, you know, you get quite a few extras. And it came in 2 sizes, I think, when I bought it. It was this size, and I think it was a bridge size. Perfect for beginner Lenormands. As you can see, it puts the playing card association in writing, and then it gives you keywords. So, for example, the ring, the keywords are commitment, agreement, proposal, contract, promise, partnership, stable situation, engagement, marriage, and offer. You know, either oral or written, solution, trustworthy, and continuing. And this deck is perfect for a Lenormand beginner. Sometimes I have good days and bad days with my memory, so this is a good deck to take with me when I'm having a bad day and stuff. But I wish I'd got the pocket size now. Unfortunately, the creator, her name was called Taro Lynn. I think she passed away 3 years ago of cancer, so I'm not even quite sure if this deck is in print. These are the extra cards that I keep separate. These are the 10 decks that I would keep if I could only have 10 decks. Thank you so much, Katie, for creating this hashtag. I will try and leave a link to the decks that are in print in the description bar, should anybody be interested. Bye for now.